Hello once again from LSU football practice here on a Thursday. I'm Advocate and sports columnist Scott Rabelais, along with our LSU football beat writer Brooks Cabina. We're at the last media availability. We just had it for LSU's practice before they head to New Orleans for the national championship game. Get ready for the game Monday night against Clemson. Brooks, I had to come out and see. I think a lot of people had to come out and see the last time they could see Joe Burrow in practice. I think that's probably part of it.
Yeah.
Big crowd today.
Yeah, it was probably the most people that have come out to cover a practice at LSU this season, except for in preseason camp. But obviously, it was Joe Burrow's last time to practice on campus in front of the media. They'll practice again on Friday before leaving for New Orleans. But it's just one of those things where you're starting to realize that this season's coming to an end, and what kind of an era it was with Joe Burrow here on campus. And the interesting thing is, the person that people might expect for him to take over next year, Miles Brennan, was not at practice today. So
yeah, what do you make of that, if anything?
Usually these things, if they're not tied together in certain days, sometimes people just take things off for any number of reasons, but right now nothing.
Could be a little illness or something like that. He was in practice yesterday.
Yes.
Right, so, and speaking of that, the LSU seems to be, to borrow a Les Miles phrase, coming to health at the right time with this national championship game approaching. Terrace Marshall, back at practice. Some of the other guys talking about players who have returned.
Damian Lewis, the right guard who went down in the Peach Bowl, he was actually practicing with the first team during drills. So Ed Orgeron talked about that yesterday, said he expected him and Marshall to play, and it looks like Damian Lewis is coming along a little quicker than maybe he thought. Going in there in first team, that's good news whenever you see him practicing in full pads in that way. So the healthy team out there, and it seems like they're as healthy as they've ever been all year.
And you want to be with this Clemson defense, which is ranked number 1 in the country. LSU comes with the number 1 offense. You had an interesting story in today's paper. I think we both had interesting stories in today's paper. you had one where you were talking to Ed Orgeron's mentors. He's often talked about his mentors. You're able to put together a story with them talking about Ed.
Right. I reached out to 3 of the coaches that won national championships that he was under, starting with Jimmy Johnson at Miami, and Dennis Erickson also at Miami, and Pete Carroll at USC. And Orgeron's talked about them all the time during this season, whether it be in Monday press conferences or radio shows or whatever else. He lists out the advice they had. And I mean, obviously all 3 of them were very, very proud of what he's done, and they thought he could always do it. And Pete Carroll said that he was very enthusiastic, saying, like, freaking coach of the year, like that's what he's done this year. He's so happy and he's one of the few people I've seen call Orgeron Eddie. So he calls him Eddie. And he said that he lost something big when he felt like he lost something big when Ed Orgeron left USC to go coach at Ole Miss, and just the spirit that he had there and the care that he had at USC. And he had a funny anecdote about the first time he met Ed Orgeron, which was at a high school state championship in California a couple of days before Pete Carroll even was given the job. And they just, shot the breeze there for the whole night, and knew every person on the field. And they actually got a lot of those players to USC. He kind of showed everything that Orgeron could bring to a program in that night. It all came together there. And I was interested to know what he could be going through right now, what the toughest thing is. And all 3 of them echoed, Dennis Erickson and Jimmy Johnson both said, don't change a thing. And it's all the media stuff, all that things. And Jimmy Johnson said one of the things that Ed may have learned from him was, at the time, Miami was running, passing a lot more than most of the offenses were at the time. And it was a little bit of a risk to do that, but it formed around the players. And when you think about LSU's past, that's kind of something interesting, and you can definitely see how that would be relatable there. But there's a lot of people that went into this success for LSU with Ed Orgeron there, and including the guy who hired him, and that's someone you reached out to this week, and it seems like he got his chance to talk about the hand he had in this.
Yeah, I spoke to LSU's former athletic director, Joe Oliva, who hired Ed Orgeron in 2016. That's a very candid thing to say. He said he still keeps in touch with Ed. Of course, he's proud of that association there. Had some very frank things to say about Les Miles and Will Wade. He said he enjoyed his time at LSU, but he said, frankly, hiring Will Wade was his biggest regret, because he feels like the whole Will Wade saga last year led to him being pushed out as athletic director in favor of Scott Woodward. But all that stuff is there for you to read on theadvocate.com and in the pages of The Advocate. Thanks for watching our next video report. We're going to be from New Orleans, sponsored by Hancock Whitney Bank.